His computer. Sweet. All right, welcome back to the Will² podcast where we're just talking about training. This is Will Pelote here, and we're just going to talk about a lot of really cool topics on this podcast. We got a bunch of questions that we started. Um, Will, how you been going, bro?
Good. How about you?
Good. I'm out of the normal like place I've been as far as like environment goes. I'm actually traveling down with my family in California right now. We're at Lake Tahoe, so it's been a beautiful trip. Honestly, like I've kind of just like wanted more and more. Like as I kind of visit these places to just like visit and almost just live down here, bro. It's sick. I've never been like super huge into California, but just somewhere out west, bro, where there's just like more mountains and shit. Like that's what's been so much fun to me.
Yeah, you guys, it's all flat out there in Milwaukee. It's pretty boring, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah, a bunch of farmland and just cityscape, I guess. But I want to just be more out in nature. Like that's just one thing I've just kind of noticed is just like nature and bodybuilding. I feel like they just go well. I don't know. Like the more I visit like nature and doing something outside, I just feel like I can be more focused on actual bodybuilding. I think when I'm like too focused on bodybuilding itself, it gets really um like almost just like not like you get bored of it, but it's the same monotonous stuff. So when you're able to
Yeah,
kind of space that out and create some distance between both the bodybuilding and like outside life, it's actually really beneficial. I've noticed.
I agree. Yeah, dude, we got mountains all over the place here and lakes. Just not in my general area, but
Yeah,
it's nice to have those for sure.
yeah. And you said you ski or snowboard,
I mean, I
or you,
skied when I was like tiny when I was
okay,
little, but I haven't done it in
yeah,
forever. Probably got to pick it
yeah,
up at some point. We
yeah,
got way
dude,
too many opportunities to do it out here.
yeah, dude, 100%. Well, sweet. Should we get into some of these questions?
Yeah, you get any? Or you want me to go with mine?
I'll pull mine up, but you can just say your first one if you got one.
All right. Is progressive overload necessary?
Um, to an extent, I think it's not. I don't think it's really important when it comes to like as you get, I feel like more and more into um like as you mature as a bodybuilder and you have more and more years of experience. I think at the beginning, it's not because like you can make a bunch of mistakes at the beginning and still grow. You know what I mean? Um, I think it's important to like learn at a young age, like in the beginning of your career to start progressing. But I don't think it's everything. Like, dude, we've talked about this before. There's been multiple times where, let's say that I'm just not feeling the strongest on a given day. Um, and, I'm in the off season and I just want to like, I feel like weird in my joints or something like that on a certain exercise. I'm just going to go for a pump. You know what I mean? I'm going to just bring that intensity as high as I can for that specific weight that I'm choosing on a given exercise. And you still grow from it. You know what I mean? I don't think you should be doing that all the time, but I think that progressive overload isn't everything. I would say it's it's important about 85% of the time. What do you think?
I disagree. I honestly think it's everything.
Yeah.
When you look at it, everything that you do is progressive overload in some way or another. You've never like there's never been a bodybuilder that just only trains for a pump besides Phil Heath.
Hmm.
Like everyone, I when you think about it, every way that you train, you're getting better in some way. So whether like progressive overload doesn't have to be more weight or more
Okay.
reps. It could literally just be an increase in tension, an increase in the quality of your reps. And even with you said, like getting a pump and doing things like that, yeah, maybe you drop the weight, but you're controlling it better and you're focusing more on the muscle. That's
Okay.
progressive
Yeah.
overload in a
Yeah.
way. It's not numerical progressive overload, which I'm more of a proponent of. I think
Yep.
that's wildly important. I
Hmm.
didn't really start making progress until did progressive overload with proper form and proper intensity with like
Hmm.
actual accurate execution. Because the problem that I see is with progressive overload, other people have the same opinion as me that are like, I see a bunch of kids in the gym that are like, you got to get stronger, but they're just moving more weight. They're not actually getting better. They're not
Yeah.
growing. They're not using the muscle. So I think it just gets misconstrued as it's only weight and it's all that matters. And I think it is all that matters, but under the circumstance that you're being completely accurate and controlling the weight and you're not just throwing shit around. I think
Yeah.
everything, all those things that I listed are progressive overload though. So I think it's
Yeah.
necessary. If
Yeah.
you
I
want to
would.
build muscle, it's necessary.
Yeah, I would honestly agree with you on that same standpoint. I think we're actually more in line with what we said than like not, because I think when I initially heard progressive overload, I wasn't thinking on top of like, oh well, are we progressing in the actual tension that we're getting within this? Are we progressing the intensity? If
Mm,
in that case, then yes, absolutely. It's like everything, right? Like you shouldn't be going to the gym like just half-assing a session and being like, oh, I'm gonna
yeah,
grow off this, right?
yeah,
But I think like what you said, yeah. Because if we're bringing the intensity up and maybe we just drop the weight a little bit on a back offset, and we're going for more like potentially like a better contraction, a better tension throughout the
yeah,
rep, because we don't want to just because again, like you said, if you don't have the proper tension, we're not going to actually grow off that and create any stimulus in the first place, right?
yeah.
I think a lot of guys aren't they don't realize that when it comes to progressive overload. I think there's actually a lot more because that right there is a perfect example of like people misunderstanding progressive overload, right? Like if you don't understand that it's about everything, right, rather than just the weight, that's where I feel like a lot of people can mess up when it comes to like actually understanding what it means.
It's the a better word for it is progressive stimulus. Is like everyone has
Yeah.
started saying, and it makes more sense. It makes way more sense,
Mhm,
especially when you think about it that way. You're just applying more mechanical tension.
mhm.
That's the goal in general. That's what drives muscle growth to an extent. Obviously, there's a bunch of different things like metabolites, all that stupid nerd shit, but it's
Yep.
it's all of those things. And even if, like you said, though, if you have a session where things are hurting, yeah,
Mhm.
maybe you go for a pump that session, but you're gonna still progress in your next session. It's still progressive overload. Maybe instead of over a 1 week period, it's 2 weeks.
Right.
So it still trumps all, in my opinion.
Mhm. Yep.
So yeah.
Absolutely. I got a question here. Thoughts on an anterior slash posterior split?
So I like posterior, but I think anterior is pretty retarded.
Yep. I agree.
Why would you train chest, triceps, delts, and quads in the same session? That's a lot, dude.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's that doesn't make sense. Do upper lower if you're insisting on doing two, like splitting it in two. But
Mhm.
posterior is fantastic. I love doing a posterior session because you when you mix two things like a deadlift, like an RDL, that's hitting your whole back too, but it's lighting up your hamstrings, your glutes, even your calves a little bit if you're really like driving down on the floor. That's hitting your whole posterior. I think a posterior session is a great idea, especially if it's a weak point. You can dedicate a whole day to it because it's such a massive muscle group. You can hit it twice a week still, but having a posterior dedicated session I think is really important. But anterior, no, dude.
Yeah. It's interesting because I actually got this asked this question actually a few weeks ago by my one of my athletes, and I kind of just told him like I haven't really used it in a lot of athletes, um, up until that point, and like it's not like I'm against it, but I think it's again, like you said, it is a lot of volume in one session, especially for the anterior, split part of the split, right?
Yeah.
I am using a type of anterior posterior split for one of my guys in prep who's less than 4 weeks, or he's less than 5 weeks out right now. And
What's the
that's more
anterior? What does that consist of though?
so, but it's not like a full posterior anterior split though. That's the thing. It's like it's chest and quads
Okay,
and back and hamstrings, but like
that's fine.
a lot less volume, and you're not and you he has a specific arm day too. So it's like
Yeah,
that's where I think it makes a difference if you program it like where again they're two big body parts, but you're not sprinkling in a bunch of volume for arms, for shoulders in there as well. Because it just becomes at that point, it's like, okay, what are we actually like? Is the stimulus that we're getting at the end of the workout going to be the same as the beginning of the workout after we've done all these body parts? It's like, and what about the pump too, right? The pump matters to an extent. And I think if we're doing all these different body parts, we're rotating all this blood around, it's just like it takes longer to get into each body part. It takes longer to like actually it's not as effective when it comes to those later body parts that we do hit. So but in this context, yeah, I think it is helping him a lot because we basically switched down from 5 days a week to 4 days a week. Um and I think it's just helped his schedule a little bit, but also we're at the point where now where we're not growing anymore into the show. We're just trying to maintain. Like
Yeah.
at this point, like you're not and even I would argue if you're on gear, you're not going to be growing at 4 weeks out. You know what I mean? And so unless you're like a genetic phenom. But um that's kind of the reason why I'd ever maybe implement that is like if it's getting to a point where you have to manage some level of fatigue and build up of that systemic fatigue when we're in a prep. But that would be like my only maybe argument for utilizing something that's similar to that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go a full anterior posterior split. I think that's a little bit unnecessary.
All I'm thinking about is imagine doing a full push day and then being like, all right, now I got to do like hack
Once.
squats and leg extensions. Like I'd fucking kill myself, dude. And
Yeah.
you're not going to put any effort into that. You're like running in two different directions.
Yep.
It's not going to make any sense. So I
Yep.
I'm not a fan of that, but I am a fan of the posterior.
Yep. And that's the other thing too is like the guy that I have him the way we set the split too, I'm pretty sure he's doing chest twice a week anyway.
Yep.
So we're doing like one day of his where he's starting um with quads before chest, which might seem like not ideal for chest growth or chest like maintaining the chest, but it's like, all right, he's got a separate chest day in the other part of the week. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
No, and
So
well, I have a chest and hamstring session.
mhm,
Um, and I start with adductors and then I do so it's like two sets of adductors with like an intensifier. I do three sets of RDLs and then I do like four sets of calves and then I'm on to chest and I do six sets of chest and I'm out. I'm done with the session.
mhm,
And I get a lot out of every single set there. It's lower volume because it's towards the end of the week or rest day, but you can absolutely like match a lower body with an upper body, but it shouldn't be your whole upper body and your whole lower body. I don't believe in
yeah,
that. So
yeah,
it's time and a place.
yep, absolutely. You got a question lined up?
Yeah, is an intra workout drink necessary?
Is it necessary? No, but does it help? Hell yeah.
I think it is necessary. I think it depends.
Mhm,
It's very situational dependent. Um, in a surplus, much less necessary.
mhm,
Um, in a deficit, I think it could have application. We're talking
mhm.
about intra-workout carbs, really, and then I mean
Yeah.
EAAs, I guess if you want to, I put those in mine. Um, but I think if you're having a big post-workout meal, a big pre-workout meal, it's not that necessary. But then you get into the sort of complexities with if you're using any sort of insulin pre-workout, you don't want to be dropping blood sugar too far in the gym, so you would likely need some sort of intra-workout for that. Um, but that's a very specific scenario.
Mhm.
Um, I think I think you could do without it. I don't think it's like going to be a game changer for most people.
Yeah. I literally with my first year and a half, 2 years with my coach, we didn't use any intracarbs.
Hmm.
Literally, and I was pushing 4,500 calories in
Yeah,
my off seasons, close to 5,000 sometimes. And so like it's like at that point you're not like you're not going to be glycogen depleted. You know what I mean?
no,
I think like you said, there's an application when you have insulin in play, just because you don't want to risk going hypo in a session. That sucks. I think in a prep scenario, like you said, it can definitely help when it comes to just holding on to muscle tissue and holding on to performance mainly. Because when you hold on to performance, that's going to lead into holding on to tissue, right?
yeah,
I never had to even use intra in my prep at all.
yeah,
And that was mainly because of the fact that like we were doing so many damn refeeds throughout the prep. And my
Yeah.
pre-workout meal in my refeed days was like 200 grams of carbs. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay,
There's
I
no
don't,
net, not needed. Not
I'm
needed.
not gonna lose any performance in the gym when I have that
Yeah.
much carbs in my system. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the only sort of like bro rationale is Milos. What he talks about is like, if you're driving blood into the muscle, why would you want to send empty blood into the muscle? You'd want to send it with nutrients. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Is there valid, like, is that a valid statement? I think it could be, but
Hmm.
we don't know. We don't know for sure.
Right. Right.
So the answer's just
Yep.
somewhere in between. It depends. Great answer.
Mhm. Yeah, I think like you said, I think it just kind of comes down to like that situational dependent, like you said, if you're using insulin, if you have tried it before as well, like this also makes it a big difference too, is like what have you tried in the past that's worked? Um, I don't think it's necessary to like just make all these switches based on what you hear on social media
Yeah.
because of like someone else's opinion. I think it's like try it out, see what works. That's I mean, that's what bodybuilding is, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like kind of a cop out answer, but like that's kind of what we've used it for in the past. I use it for some of my athletes. Um, and there's some athletes where it's just like it bothers their stomach, so they're not going to use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
and
that's
if it
that's
bothers your stomach, you should not use it at all. It's going to make your
yeah,
workout worse. It's like, it's
yeah,
so personal dependent. And
mhm,
like you said, don't listen to what anyone says on the internet. Listen to your own body. Learn what
mhm,
learn what your own body needs.
mhm,
That goes beyond just this, like just an intra
mhm,
workout drink. It goes for training, especially
mhm.
for like for all your protocols, everything. It's if you listen to someone else, you're not going to get the same result. You're going to end up fucking yourself.
Right. All right. What is your go-to pre-workout stack?
I'm going to be honest, dude. I don't take pre-workout. Um,
Yeah.
like when I was with you, that was the first time I'd taken pre-workout, and it was just because it was there, and it just
Mhm,
jacks me out of my mind. And I'm like, my heart's beating way too much, and I get like cold sweats. I've
mhm.
like, I hate it. Literally just 10 milligrams of tadalafil and a coffee, and plenty of
Yeah.
water and salt, like prior salt in my pre-workout meal.
Mhm.
Um, that's literally it. For anyone that doesn't know, tadalafil is the generic name for Cialis. It's a PDE5 inhibitor. No, it
Mhm.
doesn't give you boners in the gym. It just gives you a sick pump.
Yep.
PDE5 is phosphodiesterase 5. It's just a factor that um, will sort of limit blood flow. And so if you can just inhibit that, you're just going to have more blood flowing to the target tissue. So in this
Mhm.
case, the target tissue is the muscle. It's not a boner, bro. You know?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like I use I've kind of just gone on and off with pre-workouts throughout the years. When I was 16, in high school, like I was using the crazy
Oh, dude,
DNA pre-workouts.
I probably spent like $1,000 one year on them, and it was fun. It
Yeah.
tasted good, but no, it doesn't make a difference.
Or it tasted like crap, but it made you feel like crazy.
Yeah, you
Yep.
know what was really good? Gorilla Mines, their original bombsicle,
Mm.
their original flavor
Yeah,
of
I think I've
Gorilla
tried
Mine,
that one.
and they
Yeah.
changed it. But my brother and I used to get it, and like this was during like COVID when we both like when I first started working out. Dude, I'd mix like multiple pre-workouts and thought it was gonna make me like huge. It did absolutely nothing. It just messed with my stomach and gave me a headache. It was terrible,
Yeah.
but it was fun.
Yeah, it's not a deal, dude. I'm at
Yeah,
the point now where it's like if it's gonna make my stomach feel any weird, like anything weird in my stomach, I'm just not gonna take it.
yeah,
I'm the pretty much I've narrowed it down to like more recently, like I've been just sticking with more basic pre-workouts if I do one at all. I had this one that me and Tristan took. I think you took it when you were with us, was that like NutriBio based pre-workout. It's like
yeah,
200 milligrams of caffeine, some beta alanine, some alpha-toluene, and some other like generic stuff that's gonna help with blood flow, right?
yeah,
Is it gonna be the game changer? No. Especially when you're enhanced, it's like you already have such a enhanced level of like being able to get jacked up for the gym, the enhanced blood flow already. It's like you don't really need that. If you're natural, I could see maybe a use case for caffeine. I know a lot of natural guys that'll use like just black coffee,
yeah,
and like some honey or like some basic carbs and some salt before the workouts. Like it doesn't need to be um super all the ordinary to get this crazy workout. I've done some pretty crazy pre-workout things before, like um, probably stuff I shouldn't say in this podcast that I'll get it taken down from YouTube. But um, I'll tell you off the pod. But
Dude, I know what
the
you're talking about. You told me
yeah
about it. It's
yeah
fucking stupid.
yeah. Um, but I think yes, CLS like 10, 20 milligrams. I've been using insulin pre-workout, so that's pretty much the best two combinations right there within itself. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much where I've been. Um, yeah, I mean, a
That
pre-workout,
this one connects to what were you saying?
a pre-workout anabolic kind of sometimes can hit.
Well, that connects to this one that I get is can you train harder enhanced versus natural? I I don't honestly think it's that big of a difference. I think that there's only certain compounds that could cause someone to train more with more intensity, and it's just the ones that like spike neural drive. But
Yeah,
I don't think that's what like PEDs would. That's not what they do. They
right,
most PEDs just their goal is increasing protein synthesis and nitrogen retention to help you recover faster. But
right.
I don't really think that it's going to make you train harder. I think that's up to you.
Yeah,
There's obviously things like you said, anadrol, even something like Mastron can um, help you with just recruiting more neurons, which could give you a sort of sense of aggression in the gym. Um, those are just like the basics. And I mean, I haven't done anything on prep or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like you have
yeah,
way more experience than me, and in that sense. But
yeah.
I don't know.
No, I completely agree with the kind of what you said. I think there's certain compounds that do create a little more of a neural drive or CNS spiking factor. Like I know, like, dude, I think I told you about like the first time I took Tren in my prep, like 3 days into it, like I got like 3 hours of sleep the night before, and
Oh,
I doubled the weight on the machine, felt better contractions, and got like 5 more reps than the previous week.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
like,
It
I
definitely
think,
can make you train harder.
yeah, I think it can. But again, I think it also comes down to a lot of it's a mindset thing. Going into the gym, realizing that if you've been doing this for a long time, like it's going to take a lot to be able to get that stimulus. You can't just walk in
Yeah,
the gym without like that intention there, right? And that's something I talk to a lot of my athletes about. The intention has to be there. You have to be able to focus before that set that you hit.
yeah,
Instead of just walking there half-ass, scrolling your phone, looking at who posted on the recent Instagram story, like focus on being able to stay like blind, keep those blinders on when
yeah.
you're
That's super
in that
important.
tunnel vision, yeah, in that set, and you're going to be able to outperform so many more people, or not even like worry about people, but like so many more past versions of yourself, right?
Yeah,
And that's what we're all here to do. Like we talked about progressive overload. So do I think gear can help you potentially perform? Or what was the original question? It was
just
push
like,
harder?
can you train harder,
Yeah,
enhanced versus natural? Just train harder. Yeah,
yeah.
I think. Yeah,
Can you have the capability to? Of course.
yeah.
When it comes to certain compounds, but I think a lot of it's mindset. I think
I think a lot.
I
It's
haven't.
90%,
Yeah.
98% mindset. If you look at someone like so from the UK, that guy Keefe West, dude, this guy is like he's not that heavy, and he's maybe like 200 pounds in his off season,
Mhm.
natural. The dude is like squatting 700 pounds for reps, absurd, and
It's
he's so
nuts.
intense with it, and it's like clearly he doesn't need anything. Clearly he's fine.
Yeah.
It's completely mindset, and like you said, with the one of the biggest things I've talked to a couple of my athletes about this too is the um when you're training and you're just not locked in on the set, you lose so much. Like, oh, if you're looking around in the middle of your set, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be squaring in on one thing and looking like you're like in a trance, just staring at either the wall or the floor in front of you. Your head shouldn't move. It should because your mind should just be entirely in that set. So I think
Mhm.
that's a bit of a side tangent from this, but I think that's one of the most important things.
Yeah. 100%. I would say the one last thing to kind of maybe add on to this question is I think when it comes from an endurance standpoint, I have noticed a little bit more of that endurance when it comes to being enhanced versus natural, like I did notice, like, okay, I can be in the gym for 2.5, 3 hours, 3.5 hours. I did a 4.5 hour leg day with Tristan before. Enhanced, like dumb stuff, right? And not that like that's actually going to build more muscle at that point because you're just like there's a certain just cut
You're
off
just
that
killing each other.
yeah. But I do notice that kind of endurance factor, especially in certain compounds like using EQ and things like that. I've noticed definitely more cardiovascular endurance within the workout, being able to recover faster for sets. But yeah, I think just to end it off, it's a lot of it's mindset. And if you can
Well,
kind of
and what
focus on that mindset too, that's where I think you a lot of naturals that I do know that are really focused on bodybuilding almost sometimes train harder than some of the enhanced guys I know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. I mean, dude, I've seen so many dudes that are like you're just average gym bro at the gym, and like I know they're taking like a boatload of shit that they should not be taking, and they barely even train. And then I see
Mhm.
someone that even just like some of my like one of my clients, kid trains way harder than any of these people. He sees more progress for it too.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it is not that important.
All
What
right.
do
You
you
got any
got?
more questions? You got any more questions? I think I'm pretty much out.
Okay, yeah, I got. Is high volume better than low volume?
Um, you can go a couple different ways with this. Do you want to start off?
Yeah, I think the first answer is it depends because if you're good at training, it's more likely than not that a lower volume approach or more moderate volume approach is good for you. But
Mhm.
if you're just average at training, high volume, 100%.
Mhm.
Main reason being it's going to take more shots at that target to hit the muscle where you need to hit it and actually get the
Mhm.
stimulus that you need to grow. I saw tremendous results going from low volume to high volume. I mean, I put on like the 25 pounds of like
Mhm.
tissue, and it was good tissue, and I got way stronger when I stopped worrying about fatigue and all this like stupid shit. It doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
And I just started training harder and being like, all right, well, I'm recovering from 5 sets of arms in this session. Why don't I bump it to six? I recovered from six. I'll do seven, and I saw more growth for it. I think high volume a lot of times is better than low volume. Low volume is for people that are extremely advanced, heavily muscled, and have to worry about pushing their body too far for injury risk and things of that sort. When you
Mhm.
see teenagers in the gym doing their like dead stop pec deck flies and like it's like stupid cuffed, like wearing mouth guards and all this stuff,
We're getting back into this conversation.
like fucking read. Well, I got a question, yeah, about
Yeah.
science-based lifters, and it's like
Yeah.
all of that. It's like they should be just do more sets, dude. Just do more
Yeah.
sets, and you'll grow, and you're not gonna get fatigued. You weigh 170 pounds. You're gonna be fine,
Yeah.
So that's
I
my take
think,
on it, all over the
yeah.
place. But
I think just like a small caveat off, or not caveat, but a small kind of like, not, I don't want to start a rabbit hole discussion, but something I've just kind of recently switched my opinion on in the last year when it comes to bodybuilding in general is just like more is better when it comes
yeah,
to so many different things. More better,
yeah,
more gear is better to a certain extent. More training, more volume is better to a certain extent. More food is better to a certain extent. More sleep, more recovery is better to a certain extent. Like Rich Piano, when he said that stuff, like it makes a lot more logical sense when it comes to real world application than you might think, right? Because
yeah,
everyone's taught that like this whole agenda of, oh well, let's do the least amount possible to get what might push us forward by like a little bit. But it's like,
yeah,
dude, if you want to make leaps and bounds, realize that volume and just more in general is going to always lead to more results. And when it comes to volume, going back to this question, it's like I think when you're younger and you're newer, like you said, I always program in more volume for my guys that are just starting out. When they start to
yeah. Me
get more
too.
advanced in their off seasons and their training gets really accurate, that's when I think that you can start to do a little bit lower volume. But still,
Yeah,
dude,
but I think it's
I've
an
been training.
incremental pullback. You
Yes,
pull
yes,
back like one
absolutely.
or two sets, like you pull back one
Mhm.
set or whatever, and they're still
You don't,
fine, and you keep
yeah.
going.
You don't go from 3 sets or 4 sets in exercise and pull down to two. It's
No.
that's stupid, dude. That like that way.
Yeah.
And I'll even say this, dude. I've been training for going on what is it, 8 years now, and it's like, dude, I still am training and doing 3 sets for most of my exercises. There's
Yeah.
sometimes I'll do like 2 sets if I'm trying to do a speedier workout. And trying to just go really, really intense. But oftentimes I do notice that those workouts, it gets sloppy. Like my form gets
Yeah.
sloppy because I'm worried about, oh, I want to bring this intensity. And then all of a sudden those extra five assisted reps that you did, like, or those extra five forced reps that you didn't actually lead to a whole lot extra tension on that directed muscle group. So
Yeah.
I do think that more volume, and especially for smaller groups, dude, blast your arms, blast your shoulders with volume. Like
Yes.
3, 4 sets, 5 sets, like, dude, you can just rock on a single machine for 5, 6 sets on shoulders and be able to get
Yep.
some crazy growth out of that. But yeah, that's my take on it. I do want to
Well,
say
dude,
my
and what?
computers.
Oh,
Go
all
ahead.
right. Your computer's getting close.
I think we're at 1% right now.
All right, dude. We'll take it to failure. We'll take it to failure.
Yeah,
Just one last thing about the with what you said is it is very body part dependent. Um, Something like delts and arms. I don't think I've done a set of lateral or a session where I did lateral raises that I haven't like either done a rest pause, like quadruple rest pause or surf the rack, like started at
yeah,
40 pounds, gone to failure, 35, 30, 25, 20, all the way down to fives. I don't think I've done a session without that in like a year.
yeah.
And my
Your shoulders
delts
got
are my
massive.
best body part. They're my best body part. Then like by no means do I have like an impressive look yet, but they're my best body part, and I would say that's a big reason.
Mhm.
So I
Absolutely.
more is more in that in a
Yep,
lot of situations like that.
yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Sweet. Well, with that being said, I think we're gonna end off there. Like this, the
Yeah.
computer's about to die. So, um, with that being said, that was the Will² podcast. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please leave a comment. Drop what you guys have questions for in the comments. Even if you guys want to, we'll take a look at those. Like I said, we're just trying to provide as much value for you guys as possible when it comes to training. Specifically, we might dive into other topics in the future if you guys have any requests for that stuff. But with that being said, what's your Instagram, Will?
Fuck, dude, I still forget. I think it's Will.Politi. I mean, just like
Okay.
I said, I'm the only
Yeah.
person with that name. So
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. If
you'll
you look
find
us
it.
both up, you'll find us on Instagram. I'll leave the links in the description as well there for the Instagram. So that being said, we are going to sign off for this episode, guys. Peace out.
So